Hello YouTube, this is Cover 2 Credits!
Today, we're doing something a little different. We both got to see the movie this weekend, but couldn't necessarily meet up to film at the same time. So, we're doing this over Discord, having our conversation, and gonna splice together both videos so we still have a review up. How do you want to break this down? Just go kind of rough plot, acting, overall rating?
Sure.
Sound good? Alright, so let's just go. What did you think of said plot? Which, I guess we'll give that a little backstory. At the beginning of this movie, they give you an update as to 8 years prior, and it is why Michael Keaton's character is angry like he is. The part is taking place right after the first Avengers movie, where the Chitauri wrecks are all over the New York City area. So he has a company that goes in to dismantle and then haul off all of that wreckage.
Alien junk.
And then, with the help of Tony Stark and the government, they create a government agency that is known that does nothing but waste removal. So it takes away all of their contracts, pretty much puts them out of a job. Skip ahead 8 years. You begin with a little nod to Civil War from the view of Spider-Man, which was kind of cool. And then you kind of hit the ground running. Spider-Man in high school, dealing with high school problems, being not popular, having a crush on the girl, kind of learning the ropes of being a superhero, but not like trying to overextend. Does that kind of sum it up well? Do you have anything to add?
Yes. And the plot was honestly one of my major beats with this movie.
Like, in what way? What aspect of the plot? How about that? Well, how about this? Did you enjoy him in high school?
Yes.
I enjoyed him with his friends in high school. That was good, I thought. Him and Ned were funny. Even the crush aspect, the decathlon aspect, I thought was good. What did you not like the Keaton part?
No, I actually thought he was one of the better villains that Marvel's had in a while.
I did like him as well.
Because he actually had legitimate beefs with society.
Yeah.
And he wasn't just super evil overlord.
Also,
I mean, I think
kind of seemed he met the ruthlessness quotient that some of these characters just haven't shown. Like, you felt like there was a chance that people were going to die by what was going on around. There's some really cool tech in this movie that is made from old alien tech, including the wings for Vulture. I like the change they made for Vulture. In the comics, he creates a way to like drain an essence from somebody to stay young. In this, they didn't do that, but they made him look a lot alike the character in the comics. The furry collared jacket. Anytime you see him in the movie, almost minus one or two, he's always fiddling with that jacket, and I was like, I kind of like that they're pointing that out. I was like, hey, check this out. What was the problem with the plot? You thought you said that was the main problem. What was what you didn't like?
Okay. The entire movie. I thought we weren't doing spoilers. Because this is a spoiler.
Then, yeah, let's not do it then. Maybe we'll do another video if down the road where we talk about the problems we've had leading up to Infinity War, Thor's next and then Infinity War. But we'll do that some other time then. How about that? We'll talk about that off camera. But let's go to acting.
I guess I can do it.
Can you paraphrase?
In more of a broad general sense.
Okay. Broaden the horizons, if you will.
Throughout the movie, the Spider-Man is getting cracked down on because he keeps jumping out and keeps keeps overextending himself and keeps trying too hard and keeps trying too hard and keeps trying too hard.
Yes.
And then at the end of the movie, he is given an opportunity to.
Yes, I understand. I understand what you're saying.
He refuses, goes out of his way again, and then everyone rewards him for it by doing the exact same behavior he's been getting in trouble all movie for. He doesn't change anything. Nothing happens. There's one scene of like his glorious hero moment, but he still makes the same decisions, does the same thing, and everyone reacts entirely differently. That was what pissed me off about the entire plot. And I'm like,
I
get
get that.
Spend the whole movie building up to this point. Like, they could have done the final boss scene in such a way as to have it within the confines of his, like, domain. Like, maybe someone, he's not out looking for trouble, but someone comes looking for it, and then he defends, and then he gets rewarded for doing that instead because he didn't go looking for trouble, but it came to him, and then he stood up and fought anyway.
It kind of did, though.
No, it didn't. He went out and looked for it again. Except
the reveal they had that had to do with Keaton's character late in the movie. Yep. That kind of brought it to him. A little. But there was still, there was still no need for him to I'm
go
not
out of his
disagreeing.
way.
I'm not disagreeing, other than the fact that they kept blowing him off. Yeah. And I also think there's a bigger reason for that. And let me elaborate. I think, now this is just me, I think Iron Man and Cap are not getting out of Infinity Wars. I think there's going to be a large shift, and there's going to be a new set of Avengers after those movies.
I would agree.
I also think they're grooming Spider-Man to lead that Avengers team.
Possibly.
I think that's why they're making this him learning and him becoming a new hero very, very blatant and very, very in your face. And I think that's why they did that the way they did. I still don't necessarily agree. I agree with you that it didn't always come across well because it felt kind of like wishy-washy. But I will say, if they're doing it to groom him for a leadership role, that makes a little bit more sense.
Like I said, I still didn't like how they constructed that plot. Because to me,
I don't disagree.
Like the main character never learned anything, and then everyone, their entire view of him flips for no apparent reason because of plot, basically.
I agree with that.
That was my major, biggest, ultimate beef with the movie.
With the plot?
And honestly, one of the only problems I had with it.
Okay, let's go through this real quick. What did you think of Tom Holland playing Spider-Man, Peter Parker?
I think he killed Spider-Man.
Easily the best Spider-Man we've had.
Definitely the best Spider-Man we've ever seen in a movie.
The most like kind of fun-loving, but yet you can still get the kind of weight of what's going on with him. Where like it's not just an easygoing thing. He knows there are people's lives at danger and things like that, to where you kind of feel that through him. Some of the other names, I've got the IMDb list here I'm looking at. Obviously, Keaton played this very well, I thought. Playing Toombs and the Vulture, I thought that he played that very well. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
He was a good villain. I doubt, not spoiling anything, I doubt this is the last time we see him. You know what I mean? What do you think of Stark in this movie? In the trailers, it made it seem like he was constantly in this movie. He's not constantly in this movie.
No, he's in fight scenes.
But I thought he played, it was just enough that, because he weighed a lot of that wishy-washiness that we were talking about, kind of came from him. I liked his part. I'll tell you, the part that I was happy that they put in, and they've brought him back because he hasn't been in the movie, was Jon Favreau as Happy Hogan. I thought Stark made him the handler for Spider-Man. I liked the way Favreau plays Happy Hogan, and he played that perfectly, I thought. I mean, he knows that part through and through. He's been that part since Iron Man 1. I was surprised. No, I won't even bring her up. If you look in the IMDb credits, you'll see somebody that I was surprised was in the movie. That's kind of someone that they hasn't been in a couple movies that the people didn't think was coming back, and she's in this, and you're like, wow, that's kind of out of left field. That's surprising.
She's in it for like 1 minute.
Yeah, but the minute is poignant enough that you know that she's going to be in more coming. And I'm wondering if that's to weigh in on something that happens later on in Infinity War. But we'll keep moving. What did you think of Aunt May as Marissa Tomei?
Honestly, I didn't think she was that hot.
She only had a few.
The movie goes.
They play it up.
The movie goes into like they play it up in probably a half dozen scenes about how like ludicrously hot she's supposed to be for an aunt, and like how everyone hits on her all the time. And honestly, she's just not that pretty.
I wouldn't go that far.
Cute, she's an attractive woman, no doubt.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna say she's not pretty because she definitely is.
Yeah.
And especially in this movie, she has that sort of like understated sort of beauty.
And I think they made sure to do that.
Pretty much in my strike zone. I'm not gonna lie, but she's not like ludicrously hot to the point of like everyone's hitting on her all the time. Like, and the movie makes a big deal about like how Tony starts hitting on her and like. How's
your aunt doing?
Random restaurants are hitting on her, and like I said, to me, that she just didn't really have that sort of appeal.
I understand that. I think they really downed her like sex appeal, if that makes sense. For the part, and they did that purposely, and I think that makes sense. It was funny to hear like Tony, like at one point in time, Peter calls, they're recording something for Aunt May, and Tony goes, "Hi May, how are you doing? What are you wearing?" And I'm like, that's pretty funny. Like, that's on brand. What did you think of Zendaya, who played Michelle? I'm not going to spoil anything else with that. But there was a bit of a reveal for her later on. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yes.
I wasn't sure if she would. They played it up where that character was a throwaway. Even in like building up the movie, building up the hype for the movie. Like she was in press and stuff, but didn't necessarily get put into what was going on.
Well, that's sort of the point, too.
I agree. I agree,
because I thought they did an excellent job with her.
I thought they did, too.
Because they put her, you see enough of her to get a good feel for her personality and make her a likable character, but she's not part of the story, and it does a good job of that.
She probably will come into play for Spider-Man 2.
Well, obviously.
Exactly. And I'll tell you, the guy that I like the most in this movie, his name is Jacob Batalon. He played Ned. Ned was hysterical in this movie.
Hysterical.
They easily had some of the best writing for him, but he played it perfectly, and just like the conscience and comedic relief when they needed it, and then the random one-liners and like cheesy high school best friend that you needed at other times. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that has enough of a part. Now, I'm looking real quick. I'm looking while we're talking, but there was a character in this movie, and I recognize the name of the character from the comics. His name is Mac Gargan. Now, we see him twice in the movie. Now, this is not a spoiler. We see him at the very end, and we see him on the ferry. Did you notice anything about him that stood out? No? I want to see... Well, I guess this could be a spoiler, so I won't bring it up. He's someone that will come into play in the future. I know it, because of the little Easter egg they put with him. I know he'll come into play later on. Off camera, I'll explain that to you if you want me to. So we got to see the Shocker a little bit, the villain known as the Shocker, and then Shocker number 2. Donald Glover was good in this. Hannibal Buress as the PE teacher was funny.
Flash was funny.
Flash was funny. I will say this. They decided to go with a Flash Thompson that... I'll tell you the truth, they don't even have his last name listed in the credits here. So they just call him Flash.
I'm not going to lie, that character does not look like a Thompson.
Agreed. So that's probably why they didn't name him that. But in the comics, Flash is one of the first people to become Venom. Now, that is not the case in this universe. We don't even know if Venom is in the Spider-Man universe because of the whole Marvel and Sony split thing.
Yeah.
But we do know the first person playing Venom is Tom Hardy, which is a leap off of a cliff from the Flash in this movie. So, we shall see what happens with that, but, there was a... See, that's a spoiler. I don't want to bring it up. That sucks. You see something that's going to come into play in Infinity War later on in a case. And I knew what it was, but when I saw it, and there's like an ultimatum, not an ultimatum, but an offer made to Peter. That's not a spoiler. That can happen, whatever. But there's an offer made to Peter. The thing he's offered is a huge thing. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
But the item he's offered was awesome. And that's something that if you know more about the comics or seen some of the cartoons that you would agree with, that'll come into play in Infinity War. So, let's get from this. Let's go to rating. Right now, Metacritic has this at a 73. That's surprising to me. I thought it would be higher than that, truthfully.
It should be higher than that.
And the Rotten Tomatoes has it at a...
Metacritic lowballs everything.
They really do.
Because everyone who's the critic there hates life and
hates
media and everything about their lives.
Spider-Man on Rotten Tomatoes is a 93 on the tomato meter and a 92 for audience score, so that's not surprising. IMDb has it at an 8.2. Your rating?
I'm going to give it an 8. Honestly, that's sort of my go-to for Marvel movies because...
Until there's a bad one.
Honestly, like I said, I would probably give this movie an 85, 86.
Yeah.
It's one of the better Marvels, but it's not
perfect.
It's not Civil War good, so no. I don't think I'd give it a 9.
I will say this.
Although I will say, if the plot hadn't pissed me off, it might have been a 9.
Yeah.
But it did. But
I'm also very close.
Say that the Spider-Man character nails Spider-Man as a character. The comedy is everywhere in this movie, and there's a ton of good jokes and a lot of great timing and a lot of really funny shit.
That turns some people off, though, with too much comedy. But to me, Peter Parker, that's supposed to be
Spider-Man, though.
Yeah, he's supposed to be kind of a smart-ass and that makes jokes.
He's like a moderately toned-down Deadpool. Like, that's sort of Spider-Man's thing.
Yeah, I agree. I also would be close to a 9 for the fact that they pulled off a good villain.
Yeah, like I said, I think, had they fixed my beef with the main plot and had they maybe gone to the villain's, family a few times and sort of played up a sort of,
why?
Financial problems, and then, he gets pushed into a corner and done some of that. You could have brought in some family background stuff.
Yeah.
And
agreed.
I think you could have made him a better villain.
Which is interesting because I'd still say
exactly. I think you could have played that up a little more and got some decent mileage out of it.
Yep.
And you could have taken 10 minutes, or you could have taken 2-3 scenes and sort of played up the villain, and I think you could have probably made this movie a 9 without a ton of trouble.
Agreed.
At least to me.
I'm right there. I'm an 8. If we did halves,
I
I'd
would
be an 8.5.
put it in the high 8s, but I can't justify a 9.
I agree, and and that's not to say it's bad. Go see this movie. It's very, very good. We've got a bit of a gauntlet coming out to where it'll be interesting to see what this movie does on its second week, because it's going to blow out everybody first week on box office. But with Planet of the Apes coming out next week, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Planet of the Apes won't touch this.
No, but it will take away some of the box office from it. There's a chance that it isn't top 2 weeks in a row. I doubt it. It'll probably be top 2 weeks in a row, but there's still a chance. Planet of the Apes is still a hyped enough movie that some people that may not go see this week may go see Planet of the Apes and then see Spider-Man. You know what I mean? There's always that chance. That's all I'm saying. So I know I'm hoping we're going to see Planet of the Apes next week. After that, I think there's Dunkirk and Valerian City of 1,000 Planets, and I always think I say that backwards, but it's not. I always think it's Planet of 1,000 Cities, but it's not. It's City of 1,000
Planets.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really make sense.
No, but it's based off a graphic novel, so it doesn't have to make sense. A French graphic novel, so it probably makes even less sense.
Not sure that's true.
Probably not. No, I do know it is a French graphic novel, but the less sense thing is probably not true. So that's kind of all we got. Let us know what you guys think of this movie. Put it in the comments if you agree or disagree with any of the points we're making. I want to see Michael Keaton in more movies. That's all I got out of this. And Tom Holland is a good Spider-Man. Is a great Spider-Man. Like this on Facebook, or like us on Facebook. Like this movie. Give us a thumbs up here in this video. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe to us here on YouTube. I put a little one shot up in the middle of the week on Facebook, and it was an interesting story I saw. I'm going to try to do that more often. If I see something that kind of piques my interest, I'll do a little one shot, 2 or 3 minute video and put it up there. So follow us there, definitely. Just at Cover the Credits on everything. And stay for the after credits of this movie, at least the first one. The second one is funny. Did you stay for both of them?
No.
Did you stay for the first one?
No.
Alright. Well, stay for at least the first one. Second one is funny. And until next time.
Thanks for staying till after the credits.
Bye-bye.